Hello YouTube, og velkommen til endnu en episode her på Art Adventures. Ugens episode er vi i Kosovo, og jeg havde æren af at få en god snak med en amerikansk kvindelig major, som ville have en tatovering af mig. Hun gik med til, at vi havde en lille Q&A-session, hvor at jeg kunne få lov at stille hende nogle spørgsmål omkring, hvad hun var for en, og hvad hun lavede dernede, og hvad sådan, det hele sådan lige handler om. Det hele den operation, eller mission, som de kalder det, nede i Kosovo. Enjoy!
Hi, I am Jessica Dwyer. I'm a major in the United States Air Force. I've been here in K4 in Kosovo, Pristina, Kosovo for the last 6 months, and I'm about to get an everlasting memory of my time here in K4 by the wonderful Daniel. Wish me luck.
When did you get your last tattoo?
About a year and a half ago.
Where?
In Kansas.
In Kansas.
Yeah, farm town. I was stationed out in like a kind of like a farm town. So there were a couple of tattoo parlors, tattoo shops, but one out of the 3 was definitely much more reputable with their quality of work. 'Cause like there was a woman across the street. She had a bunch of tattoos. She went to one, and they had like colored outside the line. It was in like a couple of places. It wasn't totally obvious. Like you'd have to look closely, but it seemed like kind of a rookie mistake to make. So, yeah.
Was that the one on your foot?
That was the one, yeah, both of them. It was the same. So I got them 2 different times. There's the paw print and the flower.
Yeah.
But it was the same guy, spaced about 2 years apart.
Cool.
But the most recent one, the flower, was...
Oh yeah, you got a bunch on your foot, right?
Yeah, a couple. It all
I thought
kind
you
of
got them on like in the same time.
No, and then this one I got back in like 2004, a long time ago.
Cool.
That was also a spontaneous decision, like I'm doing right now.
Like this one?
Yep. Yeah.
Spontaneous is good sometimes.
Which is, it's good for me because I'm not really a spontaneous person at all.
No?
I'm a total planner.
A total planner?
Yes. Everything has to go as it was supposed to go.
So this is like a way to remove yourself from all the structure in your life. You ready?
Yep.
Cool.
To branch out.
Do some spontaneous stuff.
Yeah.
Get tattooed by a
Some
random Danish guy from
I'm
civilian dude from Denmark.
I'm trying to remember how this even came up. We were...
Yeah, how did it even came up?
Yeah, so we are saying goodbye to a couple people on my branch right now. So we had a little going away dinner for them. And Michael, I don't remember his last name, one of the Danish... Is he a major?
Kneeling. Jesper.
What?
Jesper?
Oh, Michael.
Oh.
Michael? I don't even know what is he in the what is his background? I don't even know.
J3.
J3. Anyways, he works with one of the Greeks in my branch. So he came to the going away dinner, and the admin in our branch, Nicole, the one German girl who wanted you to work on the cover-up, she was like, Jess, what do you think about getting tattoos? Something to remember the mission by. And I was like, yeah, maybe. So really, my original intent was just to get my daughter's name on my wrist, tattooed on my wrist. And then when I saw the work you do, I thought that would not be maximizing your full potential.
I appreciate that.
So I don't want to say she chickened out, but she decided not to because the cover-up was going to be maybe not possible.
Yeah.
And so, but at the time, she's like, let's go. I have the number to the manager sitting over there. And I said, okay. So I ended up seeing Michael the next day, and he said, hey, I just came from the Danish NSC, and the tattoo artist is there if you want to go talk to him. I said, okay. So the girls marched over here, and Nicole decided not to do anything. She tried to convince the blonde girl as her roommate. She tried to convince her to get her little horse done. It would have been her first tattoo.
Oh, okay. Which could explain why she would chicken out.
That, and I don't think she was expecting to pay €100, to be honest.
It's fine.
So I said, well, why don't you talk to him? Maybe he'll negotiate something, maybe make it smaller, I don't know. But I think she maybe used it as an excuse to not to not do it as well.
Quality work.
Yeah. Well, and that was my response too. I said, well, it seems like this guy has a pretty good reputation, so you're gonna pay for that, regardless. And anyway, so that's how this came up. Was just I don't know how Nicole, the brown-haired girl, I don't know how she found out about you being here. Maybe Michael told her. I don't know.
It's fun.
That evening, so.
And now here we sit.
How
long have you been in the, in the Air Force, right?
Air Force, correct.
What is your rank?
So I am a major.
Yes.
In the United States Air Force. My name is Jessica Dwyer. And I joined in 2004 after graduating college. So there are 3 ways that you can become an officer in the Air Force. One way is to go to our service academy, which is in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Beautiful town, city. And that's basically 4 years of military academy. So it's not only academics, 4-year bachelor's degree, but integrated into that is military training. So whatever you imagine, drill, search and rescue stuff, also athletics play a part, physical fitness stuff. So that's one way. I didn't go that way.
Okay.
The other way is they call Reserve Officer Training Corps. This is where you attend a civilian university or college, and integrated into your education is military training. So there will be a small, or some universities it's quite large, but there'll be a detachment with military personnel affiliated with whatever service. So for me, I'd be looking for an Air Force ROTC detachment, and you take classes on things like military history, joint operations, different, maybe warfighting strategies, organization, doctrine, that sort of thing. But that's all integrated in with your regular academic classes like math, science, English.
Yeah.
And then they do other military training on the side as well. I didn't go that way either. The last way is officer training school. And so this is for people who have already earned a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And just require the military training to become an officer. So I didn't know I wanted to join the military until my junior year of college. And by that time, it was too late to join one of the reserve training courses. So if I were to go to another university that had one of those training detachments I explained earlier, I wouldn't have been able to compress 4 years of that training into just my last 2 years, or year really, of college. So I looked at all the services: Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, and my major was physics.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a science geek, and my interest was always in astronomy and space, and that fits the Air Force mission much better than, say, the Marines or the Army or Navy. So after talking to recruiters from all the other services, I decided that the Air Force mission fit my personal interest best. So applied, I was accepted. So about 4 or 5 months after I graduated college, I started training at Officer Training School, which is in Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
At Maxwell Air Force Base. It's a big training and education installation for us. So throughout an officer's career, they will probably go there at least once or twice for some sort of education. So it's only a 3-month program, actually. So people sometimes make fun of officers who go through the officer training school, and they call us 3-month wonders because we come out the same rank as somebody who spent 4 years maybe of hell at the Air Force Academy.
Yeah, but you just did a major in physics.
Yeah,
so.
So those are the 3 different avenues, and
so do they assign you to a assignment in the Air Force which would where you could apply your education in college?
That is a good question.
Are they looking for those things when they accept you at the academy?
Yes. So I'll say it depends, actually. For someone like myself, having a technical background is kind of, I guess, attractive maybe in some ways as far as how we can contribute to various missions. But it depends really on what the needs of the service are at the time that you join.
Okay.
So, for instance, we have a shortage in certain career fields. One of them being intelligence officers. So there are some career fields that you have to have a certain type of degree in order to qualify to be that in that career field. So for myself, I'm a scientist in the Air Force. We also have chemists and analysts. So think analysts are kind of like your mathematicians.
Yeah.
And I would have to have a physics degree or math degree or chemistry degree to be in this career field. But there are other career fields like missileers, or those are people who are sitting in the silos underground waiting to launch a nuclear weapon, which hopefully they never ever have to do that, by the way. Those sorts of career fields don't have a prerequisite degree, but they'll get whatever training they need before they actually, take that job on or do it by themselves at least. So, so I guess that's kind of a long answer to your question. It depends on the career field. Obviously, if you're a pilot, your undergraduate degree can vary, but everybody will go through a pilot training course or school, and that will be specific to whatever airframe that person will eventually fly. So some will become fighter pilots, some will be more of a cargo pilot, maybe a tanker, helicopters, so things like that. So whatever you don't have as, academically in hand when you join the military, they will provide you whatever training you need to do your job. So I know for I guess recently, as in the last 3 or 4 years, the reserve officer trainees, the people who are going to civilian schools for their undergraduate degrees and then having the military training kind of integrated in with their education. The folks who are pursuing technical degrees like engineering, math, science, they have more opportunities for scholarships.
Okay.
So basically the government would pay for part of their degree or possibly all of their degree depending on their level of eligibility. So there's some pretty good deals out there.
Sounds like a good deal over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've enjoyed my time, and when I first joined, I incurred a 4-year service commitment. So just by going through the initial training, I had to stay in and serve 4 years. And when I first joined, I said, okay, I'll do my 4 years, and if I still like what I'm doing, if I'm still happy wearing a uniform, I'll stay in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of been my attitude throughout my career. So now I've been in for about 12 and a half years.
Still going strong.
Still going strong.
How long have you been in Kosovo?
Kosovo, I arrived on October 20th. And I will be here for 6 months. So I still have about a little less than 3 months to go. I just reached my mid-tour point on Friday. Today's Tuesday. I reached my midpoint on this past Friday. So I'm on the downhill stretch now. But this has been a pretty neat experience. It's my first deployment, my first mission abroad. I volunteered to come now because I wanted to come during a time when my daughter would be still young enough to not really understand that I'm gone or remember that mom's not home. So
that's nice.
So it's good that I'm happy that I took advantage of it. I still get to talk with my family at least once a day, just using some type of video chatting or phone calls through apps on my phone or computer programs. So that's definitely helped. But it takes some planning. I know there are some families who, when they're separated, they experience great difficulties and
yeah, Jacob told me that yesterday.
Yeah, it can be really trying. But I feel like if you are able to plan, you can avoid problems, I guess. So I volunteered for this February of 2016. So I knew for several months I'd be coming here in this past October of 2016. And so I gave my family and me plenty of time to decide what we wanted to do. So what we ended up doing was putting all of our household things into storage.
Okay.
And so we were just renting a house. So we put everything into a storage unit, and my husband and my daughter moved from San Antonio, Texas, out to New Jersey, where I am from.
Yeah.
And they are now staying with my parents for the time that I'm deployed here, because we didn't really have any sort of support system in Texas. No family. Obviously, I have coworkers and friends, but that's a lot to ask of people. So people who aren't family. So I'm forever indebted to my husband. He's a civilian. He's not in the military. Because every time we move, which is about an average of every 3 years, he unfortunately has to find a new job, different line of work.
Why are you moving so much?
That's just how our military works.
So you move from base to base?
Yes.
And then they have to tag along and...
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and it's officers move more frequently than our enlisted folks or our NCOs, airmen. So, like I said, it's an average of 3 years. I've moved after a year and a half. I've moved after 4 years. So it varies, and it shows career progression too. If you move to a new unit, doing a new job, learning a new skill, taking maybe a higher leadership position as you go.
I was about to ask that. If you progress in your career path when you move every time.
Yes, that's the goal.
That's the goal. Okay.
Yep. And actually, my job that I left before coming here was acting as somewhat of a career counselor, if you will. So working to relocate other scientists in the Air Force to make sure we're filling all the needs of our service, but also keeping in mind the individual's career progression and professional development along the way. So, but we also have to match the priorities of the units that are out there across the world. So, so it could be difficult at times. Sometimes people don't like where you send them. I want to go to Florida, but I only have positions available in California or something, or New Mexico.
Is that something you apply for?
So that's a good question. Yeah, the individuals can put in their preferences. We, as the assignments team, publish a list of all of the vacancies, and then we encourage our officers who are vulnerable to move to use the vacancy list to develop a realistic wish list, so to speak. Because sometimes we have folks who will put a base or a job on their wish list that doesn't even exist. It's not available. And so now, unfortunately, they don't really have any valuable feedback to us on where they want to go. So, it's been a really interesting job. It's very personal and intimate, I guess, for lack of a better word, because the decision we make on where we send somebody doesn't just affect the individual, but their entire family.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
So we try to take input. The Air Force members have an opportunity to communicate to us if they do have a difficult family situation, or, hey, I've got aging parents in this region of the country. If you could get me somewhere near that, some people are willing to sacrifice their own career progression just to be
makes sense.
Near family or help their spouse's career or something like that. So, it's definitely a big impact that we have on our folks, and not only their lives but their families' lives as well. So we take it very seriously. And before that, I was a PhD student at Kansas State University, and I will eventually apply that degree, the education I gained from that experience, when I teach at the Air Force Academy. So I mentioned that was one of our commissioning sources. So in 2018, I'll be joining their faculty. And I'm looking forward to that. I enjoy working with the cadets, and not only the academic side of things, but just being a mentor, professional mentor on how to be a good Air Force officer. I don't know, maybe this is a bad influence on them if they see me getting a tattoo online. But you can be an individual and serve in the military, so it's...
What's your mission in practice here?
Here in K4, I work in the headquarters area in J5, which is plans, policy, and assessments. And I work as a planning officer, just a staff officer. And my main responsibility is kind of maintaining the personnel requirements here throughout the country. So that's kind of the extent of, I think, what I can share. Just making sure we've got the right personnel that accomplish the mission. So, so it's important, and definitely learned a lot throughout the process, and I've really enjoyed the interaction with the multinational folks who are here. This is something I definitely wouldn't experience otherwise. Even on other missions, to say Al Udeid or other, I think there were some other deployments I looked into, but none of them had the same level of interaction with other nations. So I think that's something I will definitely take home, and I certainly cherish now, just learning about other cultures and language and traditions, which is great because everybody's really proud. I think we're all proud of our nationality. I don't think we'd serve in the military otherwise, but we all still respect one another, and that's something that I think that's really unique to this mission in particular. So yeah, I really appreciate it, and experiences like this too.
What is the main mission, to all the people who doesn't know, what is the main mission here in Kosovo? Why are the military still here?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's NATO is here on a peacekeeping mission to maintain a safe and secure environment throughout the country for all of the Kosovo people, all the Kosovars. They experienced some pretty tragic things in the late 90s and early 2000s. Some ethnic clashes between Kosovars who have kind of a ethnic ties to Albania versus Kosovars who have ethnic ties to Serbia, and there are some differences in political opinions that have yet to be agreed upon, I guess, or compromises made. So NATO is here to just try to make sure that no other real violence breaks out, and make sure there's still a freedom of movement so people can come and go throughout the country and in and out of the country as they would like to. So it's I think we're doing a good job, but again, we're at, as far as the progress it's made, we're at the mercy of the country itself and those countries that surround Kosovo, to for us to be able to leave them and let them stand on their own and maintain the peace on their own. So as long as we are still needed, we being NATO, we'll still be here in the country.
Yeah, it's funny to walk around with Jacob and Dennis here, where people they thank them on the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've definitely felt welcomed. When I am able to get outside the camp, people are pretty, I think they are appreciative of NATO's presence. And I don't, to be honest, I don't know exactly what the long-term future holds here. We've already been, again being NATO have been here since 1999, so we're approaching 20 years here soon. It's a long time. But hopefully there'll be some more progress here as we move forward. So sometimes it can take generations for political differences to be resolved. So especially since I'm sure a lot of the people who are still occupying the country or have very vivid memories of the war that took place here. So it's hard to forget that, and whatever personal losses they may have experienced in the process. So
yeah, stuff like this takes generations.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much time it will take to regenerate Iraq and all those countries.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna take generations because of all the memories of the different generations and all the losses in the families and through the war and everything. It's gonna takes a while.
Yeah,
like that.
It will. But I think, I don't know. I hope everybody wants peace in the world. And I don't know. We'll see where it goes here in Kosovo in particular. So.
There's not so much of violence going on here.
No.
Anymore.
That's true.
That's my impression of the whole place. Because I didn't know what I was going.
What you're getting into here?
I had no idea at all. But it's pretty easy down here, and I think the military contributes to a lot of that in the years.
Yeah, I think if you check the local media sources, there are a lot of protests that are staged, again, mostly politically driven, but I know there's a small is relative, I guess, but there is like a women's rights network. I don't know the exact name of the organization, but I know they've staged some protests just to try to fight for equal rights, and like I think a lot of other countries have done in recent days. But yeah, I think the extent of some of the violence is that, just trying to use the freedom of speech they have to make a statement, make a point, let people know that their opinion matters. But yeah, for the most part, it's calm and stable here throughout the country. So.
Are you going to be in the military the rest of your life?
No. I do plan to stay in. Right now, my service commitment for the education I received for my graduate education, I owe about 4 more years, a little less, time in service. So that would take me out to about the 18-year point. And in my military, you're eligible for retirement after 20 years.
Okay.
So if my commitment takes me out to 18, then I think it would not be wise if I got out when you're so close to the end. So
definitely gonna stay the 2 more years.
Yeah, as long as they'll keep me. So, but I have enjoyed my experience so far.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. The best part are the people.
Yeah.
Who I've met along the way, with whom I've worked beside. You learn to form friends very quickly and become close friends very quickly, because we don't, as I said, we move quite often, so you don't have 10 years to build up a tight friendship or bond, so you tend to trust people pretty fast after meeting them.
Yeah. That sounds nice.
So I appreciate that, and I'm still very close with some of the officers who I worked with as a lieutenant when I first joined, almost over 12 years ago. So, now it kind of went through everybody getting married, and now everybody's having kids. And yet we're all, we all still communicate, whether it's email or Christmas cards or Facebook, whatever you have. If you're lucky, you'll cross paths again and maybe be stationed together.
Have you tried that so far?
There have been a couple of officers who we've been stationed together on at least two occasions. And when I go back to Colorado here in 2018, there's a couple. It'll be our third time at the same base, so that's pretty cool. Actually, I'll call it the fourth time because we all went through our officer training school program together. So when we very first joined and had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, we were in it together. So
Yeah.
And then we've been stationed together twice, and then one more time in the future. I know is coming up. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, the military puts a lot of trust in very young people. So my first job, when I was, 22, 23, I did some satellite operations for a research satellite that observed the sun. And yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was cool. So we were monitoring the sun's activity, so big solar storms, sort of thing that cause the northern lights and the southern lights, the aurora. We're interested in forecasting from the onset of a solar storm when those high energy particles will arrive near Earth, because they affect our communication systems, navigation, even they've been known to destroy power grids here on Earth.
Yeah, they can be pretty harsh.
Exactly.
Those electrical storms.
Yep. So we were again trying to predict with with combining data with other satellites that are out in space. Just the timing. So.
Is there a difference in timing on how? So when there's like a solar storm, on when it arrives on Earth, or is it usually the same amount of time it takes for the whole?
That's a good question.
Electrical storm.
Yeah. Yep. So it depends on where the storm this explosion takes place on the sun. So if you have the sun and the Earth here, just hypothetically speaking, and a storm goes off on a limb of the sun in this direction, kind of away from the Earth, then you won't have as much of an effect.
Okay.
But
makes sense.
If the storm takes place on the solar disk that's facing you, facing us on Earth, then you may have some problems coming at you. So there'll be more particles that can. The way it was described to me was by one of the scientists who I used to work with was, imagine if you had a bunch of gears working for some sort of machine, turning, and then you just throw a bunch of sand in it, and it starts kind of grinding the gears, and it's not able to operate the way it should. It's kind of a similar way, but imagine more like electronic systems that can go haywire or fry, so to speak.
Crazy.
So
when you think about how far away the sun is, and it can still impact our whole system, society, with internet and power plants and TVs and radios.
Absolutely, yeah. It is pretty cool. That's why I felt really fortunate to be a part of that project at the time. So,
hasn't there been a lot of solar activity lately?
So there may be, to be completely honest, I have kind of fallen off track with a lot of that since I've been here. But there may, I haven't heard of anything in the very near term, but I don't know. I feel like we don't get a lot of science reporting by kind of the major news sources. You really have to kind of go out and find information, or pick up a Scientific American magazine or something, or be actively reading scientific journals. I appreciate there are astrophysicists like Neil deGrasse Tyson has been a great spokesman for science literacy and just trying to make it interesting and accessible, I guess, to all sorts of people, not just people who are science geeks, I guess. There's a program he was the host for called Cosmos. I think you can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Cosmos, yeah, I know
Cosmos,
that.
yep. And he just talks about all different... It's not solely about space and astronomy, but he touches on other things, life on Earth and different ways humans are impacting the planet. So that's a cool show. Kind of like the current day. We used to have a guy called Bill Nye the Science Guy in the U.S. He had a science show for kids when I was growing up, and he's still around. He's your token science nerd. He kind of plays up that image, with bow tie, glasses.
A physicist that I really love is Richard Feynman.
Oh yeah, Richard Feynman.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's very good at articulating very complicated physics into words that anybody could understand if you pay attention.
Yeah,
I really love watching him.
That's cool. I'm impressed that you know about him. Most people don't. His lecture, he's very well known for his lecture series, and yes, his ability, like you said, articulate is a very good word, and explain different phenomena in terms that you don't have to have a PhD to understand it, essentially.
Yeah, but that was also like his philosophy. Mm-hmm. If you want to understand something, take something that is very complicated and talk about it and explain it in a word that anybody could understand. Mm-hmm. That means that you have understood it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, teaching. The best way to learn something is to teach it.
Yeah.
So I've learned that being in the classroom. So.
Yeah, me too. I've been an elite gymnast for many, many years, and I've always been teaching gymnastics as well.
Cool.
Both for children, but also like elite gymnasts as well.
Wow.
So I've always gained a lot of my own knowledge in gymnastics in practice just by teaching others and telling them how to apply different techniques and positions and all those things. So
did you do that growing up, or as a child?
No.
Well,
yeah, I did, but I went to a school. It's like a boarding school, but not a boarding school. Yeah. We call it a continuation school, where you live and you do your sport and you go to school for a year. I did gymnastics on that school for a year. And then I started teaching after that, actually, at 15 years old. I still teach.
Wow.
I still teach.
In your spare time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I've had some of the best gymnasts in the country as gymnasts, or as on my team, and also beginners. So I teach every level. Pretty
so
cool.
Do you have a favorite or a dominant event that you like to compete in, or used to compete in?
The gymnastics is very, very different in Denmark than it is in the States.
Okay.
We have different kinds of gymnastics. When I mention gymnastics for you, you instantly think about the Olympics. Right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
We have something called performance gymnastics, where we perform around the country, and there's these different events where people can attend and watch different teams do a performance. I've also competed in something called power tumbling, which is not an Olympic discipline yet. I hope it will be. But that was what I was competing in when I competed. But the
That's
most
cool.
I've done is the performance gymnastics, where we once a year travel around the country and perform for an audience.
So I'm now kind of, and I may be way off in this, but I'm kind of envisioning like the Cirque du Soleil sort of thing.
Yeah, like that,
But not all the
not
crazy.
on a budget. Of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know, with all the costumes and makeup.
But I have a few friends who have been in the Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, that kind of gymnastics.
And are you performing? Is it like to music or anything?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It is jumping, and it's also like dancing.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. But it's all as a group, as like
Yes.
a troupe,
Yeah,
so
we
to
have
speak.
like normally on like when there's like they select different gymnasts for the teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually around 15, 20 guys, and then 20, 25 girls.
Okay.
And then we train once or twice a week, and then maybe you teach once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you attend another team. So the culture, the gymnastics culture in Denmark is very, very different
Okay.
than in the U.S. Because
Yeah.
I have been to Pennsylvania
Mm-hmm.
teaching at Woodward,
Hmm.
where every time we talk to someone about gymnastics, we have to explain
Exactly what
our
your
way of doing gymnastics.
yeah, your style.
Yeah.
So is that
But the level in Denmark in gymnastics is very, very high. Actually.
okay? So is it unique to Denmark, or are there other European
are.
countries or Scandinavian countries that do it?
There are other countries who do the same,
Mm-hmm.
but not exactly the way that Denmark does it.
Okay, you got your own flair, your own style.
Our own little weird way of doing stuff.
No, that's cool. I'll have to look this up.
Yeah, it's like for the camaraderie. Can you say that? Like
Yep.
for the friendship and like it's so different. The whole way of doing it, doing sports, doing movement for fun.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely miss team sports. I grew up playing football, not American football, real football, as you guys would call it, I think. Soccer. So that was my favorite sport growing up, and I played in college, just for a small Division III school, so kind of like lower level, I guess, but still competitive nonetheless. And in high school, I played basketball and softball as well. But I do, yeah, even now you kind of miss that, like you said, camaraderie. I mean, the military, yes, there's camaraderie too, but I don't know, sports, competitive sports or performance sports, it's different. Like, as a child, I took dance as well for like 10 years. And yeah, you train so long, and you see people progress, they get better, or maybe they have a really rough season or a rough week of practice. And you all kind of pull together to get them out of that rut, or give them the confidence that they can do more or better. They just have to prove it to themselves. So I don't know. Yeah, there is something special about that, which I miss as an adult now.
Yeah, I miss it too. I stopped a couple of years ago because I really wanted to focus on my tattooing and focus on my career. Because like teaching gymnastics on a high level and practice gymnastics on a high level, it really it forces you to train like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And
it's very demanding.
I was like on this. I'm 28 years old, and I knew if I had to, sustain my level, I had to train at least 3 times a week for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that would lock me, so that would like put me in a position where I would not be able to travel as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
So it was a hard choice, and then I just like I just quit.
Yeah.
I just stopped.
That's a big commitment.
Yeah, it's a very, very big commitment. And I miss it. I miss the whole team spirit.
Mm-hmm.
When we are out to all the gymnastics events, when we travel around the world.
Yep.
Doing gymnastics for hundreds and hundreds of people. It's so cool.
Are you able to still watch, maybe, like, go to support those?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Cool.
As much as I can.
Cool.
I still know a lot of people who still practice, and I love to go to the events and watch them do what they do.
That's good. I'm sure they appreciate your support.
We all do whenever we come and watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I had 1 year last year where I was like totally off gymnastics. I did not do anything, and then I actually, as a surprise, I found out that the thing I missed the most was teaching.
Aww.
Like passing knowledge and helping others progress.
Yep.
Was something that I really, really liked more than I knew.
Yeah.
So
yep.
that was why I just say I would like to teach gymnastics again.
Yeah, just being serving as a mentor.
Yeah.
And
it's so much fun, and it's like some kind of therapy where you just pull the clutch, just pull no more tattooing, no more social media, no more cameras and microphones, everything. Just teach stuff that you know.
Well,
I love that so
much.
much.
If you're an expert in something and you can share that with younger generations, or for me, it's also a way to like give back to the sport, whatever you got out of it personally. So that's really
love that so much.
That's cool. Yeah, have you ever had any major injuries or anything?
Yeah, I was competing in something called power tumbling. And I was on like this team who was supposed to train up for the World Championships in Canada.
Wow.
And I was starting my training I literally just started, and then I had an injury on my foot, which the doctor said, you're never going to do gymnastics again.
That's motivation.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
And so I actually stopped doing gymnastics for 2 years. I didn't do any gymnastics whatsoever. I was just going to the gym, weightlifting.
Yep.
And then one day I really couldn't feel anything in my foot anymore.
Like pain?
Yeah, nothing. So I just tried. I tried to start again. And then I've actually never felt it since. And I just still have no injuries whatsoever.
Good.
So if I really wanted to, I could just start again.
Yeah.
But it was weird. And then I started doing like the performance gymnastics. Like I went all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I attended different teams and all that. It was nice. So no, like I injured my back once. I was doing like a triple backflip.
Oh my God.
And I landed weirdly. So my back just all the way back.
Ow.
Yeah, I had to go through therapy for.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
weeks.
do you guys have you probably have your own person for the team, like physical trainers to tape ankles or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
For the teams with the higher level, we have those physical therapists.
Yeah, that's good.
Where you can come until you can get your injuries checked and everything.
Yep. Sit in an ice bath or something if you.
Yeah, you can do that when you get home.
That's pretty cool. I have to look up your type of gymnastics and the power tumbling. That sounds pretty cool. Sounds intense.
We have something called the National Danish Performance Team, which is like a specially selected team that travels around the world. Yeah, they always go to the States. Almost always.
Yeah, they probably have a website, so.
Oh yeah, they do.
Check them out.
Definitely. So, what would you say has been the craziest or most awesome experience in the Air Force?
In the Air Force?
You've flown like fighter jet or something.
No, I wish I had something cool like that. And actually, sometimes when I tell people I'm in the Air Force, they say, "Oh, are you a pilot?" I say, "No, I don't like roller coasters." So, let's see, what is the craziest thing? Is it not recording? Some cool, it's not crazy, but,
That's a clap.
yeah.
It's weird that it didn't turn on.
Oh, sorry.
Is it cool?
You got maybe on here. Or is it doing audio at least?
No, you're doing video there, video there.
Oh, okay.
So I have that back up there, but that one turned off, which is weird, but whatever.
Now it's on.
Let's check this one.
Yeah.
Once. Normal battery, that's fine.
Oh, the battery's dead?
Yeah. Okay. And here is also perfect.
I think your producer is going to be very upset. Just saying. So how is it looking back there, all right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Definitely.
Crazy things.
It's not crazy, more like like an experience that was like there's gonna be a while until before I forget that. Like something you really thought was cool. Did you do did you run a marathon or did you?
I have done that, but not for the Air Force. I'd say one of the most rewarding things I've done since I've been in the Air Force was when I served on a base honor guard.
On what?
An honor guard?
Yeah.
So with that, we perform in ceremonies like retirement ceremonies or promotion ceremonies. You know, we carry the flags in with a rifleman on each end, post the flags and leave. We were asked to do like saber arches for weddings. But our primary responsibility were providing honors, military honors at funerals for veterans and retirees, sometimes active duty members who had died for one reason or another, whether it was in combat or something else. So while that might sound kind of morbid, I actually felt honored, I guess, for lack of a better word, to be present and a source of comfort for grieving families.
Yeah.
Because for some people, we were maybe the last time that family would be around people in uniform, especially if they were, a World War II veteran or something. But we've also, we also had to lay to rest I think he was like a 20-year-old enlisted kid who committed suicide. And that's very real. That's a problem in the military in general, in the U.S. military. And so it's very eye-opening, the different reasons, that we were, our presence was needed. So, I always took that really seriously, but it was just something I volunteered to do. It was, some bases, it's kind of works on a quota system, like, okay, Unit X, you will provide 3 people to serve in the honor guard, and they might force you to do it, or you can volunteer. I replaced a guy, he just didn't want to do it anymore, and I was like, heck yeah, I'll do that. So, we do stuff like pallbearing. This is when you take the casket out of the hearse, and folding the flag, the gun salute. We did it all. Like I said, it may sound morbid, but felt really, it's a special time, a difficult time for families. But like I said, the fact that we were there to help provide comfort for them during a time of mourning is something unique. So, I don't know. And it's, I guess, maybe nice to know that maybe one day I'll get something similar. Hopefully not for a long time, but you know, it's kind of a nice tribute and a way of saying thank you for your service to our country. So I don't know what the regulations are in other nations, but you know, we actually have policies that say that, you know, if you served, here's what you are entitled to as a former service member or an active duty service member when your time comes. So
sounds like an interesting chapter to look back at as a servant in the military, because you also get like this reality check where you also know what it can end like. Not to sound too negative.
No, and you know, I participated in a funeral where people were protesting against the military, and in the U.S. we have these like biker gangs, basically, you know, these guys who ride in Harley Davidsons and wearing their leather vests and chaps, and they come if they hear about something like that, you know, protest at a military funeral. Sometimes, if they're available, they'll come and like basically provide security in a way to like block the protesters, which is kind of cool. A lot of them are veterans themselves, so
that's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty. That happened. Like I said, that happened just once. Luckily,
Did they protest at a funeral?
Yeah.
Funeral. That's weird.
Yeah, they were not able. This one in particular was on a base, so they couldn't get through the gates.
No,
but most of the funerals are just out at a cemetery or church somewhere. But I think I don't say they call them like freedom riders or something. I can't remember what the term is, the title, but it's kind of cool. I got chills when I kind of looked over my shoulder at one point during the service, and they're all just like standing in a line, like creating a wall with big American flags in their hands, like blowing in the wind. It was like, oh, I wish I could take a picture of that right now. But yeah, you know, that guy, I was really pissed off about protesters, because that guy was killed while he was deployed by, it was an Afghan soldier who walked into a conference room and just started shooting the people. Yeah, so we thought you thought he was on your, part of the coalition, and then he starts killing people. So there were, I think there were 2 or 3 people who lost their life in that incident, but yeah, totally senseless. So that was interesting. Sorry to be a downer, but it's like I said, a unique experience. But I've spent a lot of time in school, actually. The Air Force has dedicated a lot of time and money into education, and that's one thing I appreciate about the Air Force, maybe compared to the other services, is how much they do value advanced education for its officers. So that's pretty cool.
It makes sense being the Air Force.
Yeah, we get made fun of sometimes for being geeks.
I applied to be a fighter pilot.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
That's so cool.
I was at the tryouts. That was the only thing I wanted in life. I went to school and everything for one reason, which was becoming a fighter pilot.
That's so cool. Have you had a ride, like, they call them incentive rides in our Air Force, where you get to just be, like, in the back seat of a jet, and they try to make you throw up?
Not yet, but I have a family friend who is a former fighter pilot who flies like these stunt shows.
Oh yeah.
So he has one of those
like
single engine propeller that weighs nothing, that can do like all aerobatic.
Yeah, the aerial
flips
acrobatics.
And rolls and
that's
can pull cool. 10 Gs if I wanted to, and it's fucking crazy. I went up with him.
So you did. I was gonna ask. So he did take you up.
Yeah, and I went to F-16 flight simulator.
Oh.
I did my preparation like really a lot.
Yeah.
And then I went to 23 different tests, and the 21st was
like physical
tests?
Me.
No, not physical.
Academic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like reading instruments and stuff. Yeah, as I say, if you're a gymnast, you're quite athletic.
But there was like mental tests and intelligence tests. But they offered me to be an officer, but I declined.
So now you live vicariously through us.
Hmm?
You live vicariously through us, just through coming to the different military installations.
Oh, this is my first one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I thought you were
Never
elsewhere.
been on a military installation before. Never.
I'm sorry.
I thought I had.
Okay, well now you can get all you wanted to know from our stories, I guess.
Yeah, if you ever deployed anywhere and you need a tattoo artist, just call me.
We'll give you a call. We'll set you up.
I love listening to stories and meeting people.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it feels like did you change the needle? Or is this the
I've
same
changed
one?
it a couple of times.
Oh, really?
Yep.
This one feels
I've changed the technique
maybe.
a little bit now, because I do like some of the texture in the fur.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to wonder about in physics?
So there's this. I don't know a ton about it. I heard it. We had like a guest lecture once, and the professor talked about something called gravitational lensing, like a lens that focuses light. But instead of it being like, how we normally envision a piece of glass, or like glasses that you wear or a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
It's a very strong gravitational field that can bend light particles.
Yeah.
So
bend it?
Yeah.
Not just reflect it.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that I still haven't fully comprehended, and now that you asked me the question, it's kind of sparking my interest again. So maybe I need to start writing a list of things to research when I leave tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just this phenomenon that if you have so if I don't know, if you think about something that has a lot of mass, it has a strong gravitational pull. So the sun is huge, and our planets are orbiting around it.
Our water and everything.
Right. Yep. So the moon is revolving around the Earth. So it's kind of similar, except rather than it being like matter, that's being bent, moved, pulled. It's light waves. So I'd never heard of the concept before this guy came to speak about it. So I'll have to go back and now that it's perked my interest again.
I bet you love the movie Interstellar then.
I liked Interstellar.
That's my favorite movie. Of all time. Like, I've never ever seen a movie. But I've been interested in like quantum physics and stuff like that since I was a child. So like they apply some of all that stuff in that movie, and I really like that.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked that a little bit better or more than Gravity. But
yeah,
then
Gravity. Yeah, it's a little
it was
unrealistic.
okay. Yeah, but then Martian came out with Matt Damon, and I kind of liked that. That had a little bit more humor, I guess,
definitely.
in it, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
To keep it kind of light, with a pretty heavy situation and topic.
Yeah, it was way more humorous than I expected when I went to see it.
Yeah. So those were pretty good. People say I'm a really bad scientist because I'm not really into like fantasy, like science fiction, I guess.
No?
No. So like Star Trek and that sort of thing, I'm kind of...
You need to have some kind of realistic feel to it.
Yeah.
Like Gravity, even though like sometimes with the weightlessness, it doesn't really make any sense and stuff like that. But it has like some realistic value.
Yeah, I think so.
With the sound and how like everything's like such enormous forces they work with up there.
Yeah. So, but there's some good science movies out there. The department head at the Air Force Academy for the astronautical engineering department, he was telling me that there's a local movie theater, a big movie theater, and he was able to rent out an entire theater and bring the cadets who were the majors in Astro, and probably some other sign-up list and other instructors. And he said they had a discussion. They watched the movie and then brought the lights up and had a discussion about Martian. Sorry, I don't think I said Martian at the beginning. This is the movie Martian.
Okay, so they discussed the movie Martian.
Yes, after it concluded, to go over what was realistic, what wasn't, maybe what were some other options for decisions that could have been made.
Love to fly on the wall in that room. Damn.
Yeah. So that I thought that was really cool that the theater let them rent the space or take the space. I'm sure they paid money for it, but then to still make it an academically valuable experience, not just hey, let's go watch a movie. So that was pretty cool. They took the time to organize that and set it up.
Yeah, that's nice.
So appreciate it.
I think I'm gonna officially end the interview here, even though we're probably gonna talk a lot more.
That's okay.
Just because it has been at 1 hour and 13 minutes now.
Okay, that's no problem.
So
it's been a pleasure.
Yes, I'm gonna end it here, but I will thank you in a clip after this.
Sure.
So I'll stop everything.
Mm-hmm.
1 time og 13 minutter lang video-upload. Mit absolut længste upload her på YouTube'en. Det var noget af en omgang, og jeg håber, at I kunne holde det ud. Jeg synes selv, at det var sindssygt udfordrende at skulle sidde og tatovere, samtidig med, at man skulle sidde og lytte aktivt og stille sådan nogenlunde relevante spørgsmål i forhold til det, som hun nu lavede, og det, som jeg nu gerne vil vide. Jeg håber, I nød det, og jeg håber, at I synes, det var nice. Hvis man har noget for feedback, må man meget gerne smide det op nede på kommentarerne hernede. Ellers så tror jeg egentlig bare, at jeg vil lukke af for den her gang og sige tak, fordi I har kigget med. Husk at subscribe her på kanalen, hvis I synes, det er nice. Det er som altid en fornøjelse at høre fra jer. Ha' det lækkert.